First of all, I think authenticity is the word that I think I resonate with the most when it comes to really building a business around you. The idea of building a business around your integrity, your boundaries, building a business that is a creative expression of you. And the reason that I've chosen this word to use or to lead with is because we often equate it to like a certification, like a certificate of authenticity. And I think there's something really powerful in being, having that kind of seal of authenticity in everything that you do.
All right. Hey, hello, everyone, and welcome to Leverage Leader Podcast. I am your host, Coach A.M. Williams, and I'm just super excited about the new year, 2023, and being able to come to you and bring you some pretty amazing content with some amazing guests like the one I have with you here today. Before I get into that, getting with him, I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, please make sure that you smash the like button, smash that subscribe button, and give us a great review. Let us know how you felt about the podcast and what great insights that you get out of it. Also, too, I wanted to also make sure that you guys knew that this podcast is actually available in video form on YouTube at Leverage Leader. So when you go to Leverage Leader, you want to look at the video version of this. Listen, just repeat what I just shared. Smash the like button, make sure that you subscribe so that you can get more exciting content just like this. So again, welcome to Leverage Leader, where we talk all things leverage. And while a lot of people think they have leverage in their business, if you're not able to get what you need out of your business or your life to create the success that you want, then your leverage is limited. And if your leverage is limited, that means your growth is limited. We want you to be able to have what we call leverage without limits. So we're providing you great insights from experts and authorities to help you move the needle forward in your business and life to create more of the success that you want. And today's guest, I'm telling you guys, you're in for a real treat, a real treat. I want to introduce you all to Tony Babcock. Tony Babcock is actually a certified life coach, NLP practitioner, business strategist, author, course creator, motivational speaker, world mover. I'll add that one in because he's pretty awesome. He helps high achievers, misfit weirdo entrepreneurs, a very interesting title. We're going to talk about that. In a pivot, cultivate confidence in their instincts and abilities so they can create and enjoy a life and biz of passion-infused prosperity. Listen to that. Passion-infused prosperity. We need to create a hashtag around that, Tony. While hashtag doing you boo. So hey, he's got some swag in there too. While doing you, hashtag doing you boo. All right. So Tony has worked with some of the largest companies in the world, inspiring lasting change and growth from the inside out. He's also been on almost every major network and streaming platform as a professional actor, voiceover artist, and TV host personality. Tony Babcock, welcome to Leverage Leader.
Thank you so much, AM. Thank you for that amazing introduction and the world mover. Love that. I'm going to take on that and add it right to the bio today.
Hey,
just a pleasure to be
what
here.
We call hashtag boss level. Hashtag boss level.
Right.
That's what it's all about, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of my favorite things that you say. I've, been lucky to know you over the last year, and I love that boss level. To me, it's encapsulates exactly what you do and your legacy on this world. So I love it.
So we got to jump right. We got to jump, like, there's so much stuff here. One of the things that I just want to give a little backdrop and context as we get ready dive into this conversation. Um, Tony, one of the things that really got me about, when we met in your program was the emphasis you place on authenticity. And I thought it would be a great idea for us to talk about how one can leverage authenticity to
Yes.
create more of the business in life. Like I knew, like you would be the guy to talk about it because a lot of people talk about authenticity, but you do it in such a way that really brings out who the individual truly is and allows them to perform at a level that they truly want. So,
Mm.
Hey guys, we're sitting with an expert here today at this. I would venture to say an authority on authenticity. Um, he is truly a world mover. But let's talk about the dynamic of when you say authenticity, or when I say it, what does that mean to you?
I love it. I love that question. And I love the idea of leveraging authenticity in business. It's my passion. So, first of all, I think authenticity is the word that I think I resonate with the most when it comes to really building a business around you. The idea of building a business around your integrity, your boundaries, building a business that is a creative expression of you. And the reason that I've chosen this word to use or to lead with is because we often equate it to like a certification, like a certificate of authenticity. And I think there's something really powerful in being, having that kind of seal of authenticity in everything that you do. And I think, more and more we've heard authenticity being thrown around as a buzzword in the last few, maybe even in the last 5-6 years. But what authenticity truly means to me anyway, and to my network, is that you're showing up and you're doing it in a way that is not limiting any of your truth from your audience. In fact, it's understanding that your true power in business, in life, in all areas of your life, comes from your ability to unapologetically show up in a way that aligns to everything about you. And it's vibrational. It's this idea of, we can feel it, right? Like, we can feel it when we're out of alignment. We can feel it when we're BSing. We can feel it when we're not really truthfully showing up. And so many of us get into what I like to call the pain of pretending. And the pain of pretending is something that I experienced when I first got into business, and even before that in my teen years. And the pain of pretending, we all know it well, is saying everything is fine when everything's actually not fine. And in fact, it's all falling apart behind the scenes. Often we learn and we get conditioned to just put on a brave and, fun looking, happy face while everything around you is sort of in shambles. And being authentic is about standing in the shambles and saying, look, despite the chaos that may be going on around me, despite not being, exactly where I want to be in my life, I can still stand in my authentic power, and I can still tell the universe, tell God, tell everyone in my audience exactly who I am, what I'm about, and what I'm driven by.
This is so powerful. This is so powerful because, you work with high achievers.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I've noticed in my work with high achievers is the tendency to perform. The tendency to perform. And while yet you want to do well when you're doing a training, a workshop, or whatever the case may be, you brought up something very interesting. You talked about the pain of pretending, which is so powerful. But when you think about that, how it's so easy for someone to say, "Oh, I'm being authentic. I'm being authentic," and they say that, but it's not really so much about them being authentic as them performing. And how easy, like, I want you to speak to the dynamic of how easy it is to slip out of authenticity and step into performing versus truly just, or for lack of a better term, just being authentic. Like, in your work and your understanding of it, your experience with it, speak to how easy it is to like slip out of authenticity for those who quote unquote, they like to keep it real or whatever. What's the difference between just simply being authentic and then this dynamic of feeling the need to perform among high achievers?
There could not be a bigger difference between the two. It is literally night and day. And yet, at the same time, to your point, it can happen so easily and it can happen so subtly. I think, so much of this is about energy and feeling, right? We can feel when we're not in our own skin. We can feel when we're not sitting into our truth. So I think the biggest thing here, and I love this question so much, is, because as a performer myself and as someone who's performed a lot of my life and not been fully confident in my own abilities, I can say that the difference is minute yet extremely large. And so there's a paradox, right? Because I think what we don't realize sometimes is that we get conditioned to not show our cards from a young age. We get told that we're only as good as our grades. As we grow up, we get told we're only as good as our title or our job or our net worth or our income. And what happens is we start to trade in the natural abundance that we have, the birthright we have of just like how fantastic we are, even just to be alive, even to have a heart that somehow beats on its own, to be, I know you're faith driven, to be connected with God, to be connected with the universe, whatever we feel and have our faith to believe what that is. But I think all of these things are already so amazing. We are already incredibly enough, yet we get conditioned to continuously trade in that reminder or that knowing for something that seems better than ourselves. And I think a lot of people, I work with high achievers, as you said, a lot of high achievers mix this up. What happens is they get into what I call happy when syndrome, which is essentially the idea that like, I'll be happy when I have the million, when I have the, billion, when I have the clients, when I have the business, the best body, the whatever, fill in the blank here. And the challenge with that is, no, you won't, boo. You won't be happy then because you ain't happy now. Like literally the idea that we're going to somehow be happy with the result, it's going to be fleeting. It's not actually going to be the happiness that we're after, because the truth is we're really only ever after a feeling. And the feeling that so many of us are after is actually already accessible to us now. So it's about doing the opposite. It's about going, I am successful. I am really powerful. I am, this incredibly infinite being. And I can then channel that into my goals. I can then, through that lens, enjoy the process of up-leveling my business, of, to use your words, leveraging my core values, my qualities, my personality, my flaws, leveraging my flaws. Like, look, you introduced me and you had said, in the title that you had announced that I sent to you, it says high achieving misfit weirdopreneurs, which is a very quick definition of what I am and also who my audience are. But this idea of a misfit high achieving weirdopreneur in itself is owning a flaw, or what we would call a flaw, right? Like being weird is actually a superpower. Being a misfit is actually a really powerful tool when it comes to leveraging your business. And being a high achiever can be really great as well. It can be challenging, but it can be a really great tool for leverage as well. So I know that was a big answer, but yeah.
No, but it was good. And it was very thought provoking. In fact, you compelled me to ask you a deeper question, because I think this is huge where high achievers are concerned. Because there's this tendency of like, oh no, regardless of what, you got to put on a happy face. You got to do this. And I get that you have to be able to push past. You may not be feeling your best, but you got to kind of, self-talk your way into doing what it is that you have to do. But here's where I'm talking about, because like we get this a lot and we see it a lot in social media. Okay, where people feel the need to perform versus simply being authentic.
Yeah.
Being authentic and saying, I push past it. I'm gonna tell you what provoked that for me. First of all, two thoughts. There was a group out there in the 80s called Huey Newton. Was it Huey Newton in the news? Something
Yeah.
like that. Huey Newton was it Huey Newton? No, was it Huey Lewis? It was one of those. Please forgive me if I didn't say it right. But I think he made this song called "Hip to Be Square." And so when I think about when you talk about misfit widowpreneurs, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Like it's just hip to be square. Like it's cool to be able to do that. The second thing that came to my mind was um, several years ago, I made this motivational, uh, inspiring CD where I was providing motivation over music. And the title track was called Challenge Yourself. And I didn't really think, like I was just putting it out there. And at that time, I was just, pushing out a lot of motivation. I was bedbound sitting there
Mm.
and I was doing this stuff. And I came across this guy. He's like, you know what? You should do this amazing project. Special shout out to Roy Smooth, Smooth Music out of the UK. And he took these motivational messages I've said and he put them on music. Well, it went pretty well. And for my local, the audience that I had, my small awareness, I was like, okay, yeah, this is pretty cool. But years went by and I never really thought anything about it. And then one of my coaches yesterday sends me a message and says, AM, is this your audio? And he sends me to Instagram. And I listen and I'm like, yeah, that's me. He said, did you see how many reels were created off of this track? And I'm like, oh, he said, there are 41,000 reels using your track. And what it was doing, and there were thousands of people that were looking at their videos, not mine, but their videos.
Mm.
And they were using the whole challenge yourself. And what I loved about it is they weren't trying to perform or anything. They were just being authentic about where they were. I mean, it was beautiful, man. Like people who were overweight, wanting to get in shape, they weren't afraid to be overweight. And you could see them struggling in the gym and you could see them working and pushing to be their best body. And it was so motivational and inspiring to me. And it was like, now that's impact. That's impact. But it brought back to the dynamic of like, why do, people believe that being somebody else is more inspiring than simply being, to your point, who you are, where you are, flawed and all, whatever the case may be. It's like, I own where I am, but I am so conscious about where I'm going. My awareness, and I want you to see the journey. I want you to see where I am. And this is what I'm working through. And I was so like, I just spent my whole night last night just looking at these people's videos with my track on there. And it was like, it just warmed my heart,
Well,
it wasn't about anything else.
It's
It was just
literally
being
like
authentic.
legacy and impact in your body. Like you're here you are. First of all, that's awesome and congrats. And it doesn't surprise me at all because I'm a huge fan of yours and your words, and I could listen to you for hours. But legacy and impact exists in your body, exists in your nervous system. We can feel legacy and impact in these moments. I've been very fortunate over my career to have these incredible moments as a leader, as a speaker, also as an actor. You mentioned before, and I think what it is when you're actually at your potential and you're feeling and seeing the legacy and the impact you're making in front of you, it's like this vibration, it's like completes the circle, right, in your body, and you can feel it. But I wanted to mention something because you had mentioned about these 14,000 or 47,000,
41,000. Yeah.
Clearly, I'm not a mathematician. Am these 41,000, people who have used your audio in their reels, and I want to just illustrate because we're talking about leveraging authenticity, and everyone needs to write down a big letter U in front of them, and the letter U is my favorite letter. I use it in all of my marketing. I talk about, you know this because you were at my event. I talk about U-turns. I run a program called Authentic You, as in the university. I have a new program called You Do You with the letter U. And the U, to me, represents what's called the universal. And if we think about ourselves, like, you are universal. And what you've proved, which is so fascinating, is that your words and that messaging, that motivation, that was a universal. By you actually being authentically yourself, by you actually putting your experience into that audio, you actually connected deeper with the world, with your people, with the audience, because what you expressed was a universal. When we are authentic, we are speaking in universals. We are speaking in things that people resonate with. When we are inauthentic, when we are trying to be someone else, it's like the animal in us, the animal in our audience does not recognize the animal in us if we're trying to be something else. Our souls are not vibrating on the same frequency. It's like we know bullshit a mile away, right? We're like, that is not, like, I can feel that is not truthful. So I think it's really key when we're leveraging authenticity to know that it's up to you in any industry that you're in, whether you're products based, whether you're service based, whether you're a speaker or a coach or a leader, any sort of business owner, and really not even a business owner, even if you're just a human, a society of this world, this society we all live in, you've got to know that your goal is always to find more of your people. That is what life is all about. We're tribal as humans. We find more people like us, and that is how we rise together. That's why our event was so awesome, because it was a like-minded group. So many of us make the mistake of trying to call out our people by trying to give them what we think they want, which is usually something other than ourselves. It's almost counterintuitive to think what they actually want is for me to be me. What they actually want is for me to be me so they can be them, because the universal is the experience of actually vulnerably, through humility, going through this thing we're all going through, this chaotic and amazing and enjoyable and delicious life that we're all living right now. So there's this analogy that I like to use of a coin, a proverbial coin, and on one side of the coin is you, and on the other side of the coin is what I call your aligned right client, or your aligned right audience, or your aligned right partner, or your aligned right number of the money that you want to have in your bank account. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that that coin is very gently sitting on its side. So many of us, what happens is the coin falls on one side or the other. We're either too focused on our audience, where we're not really showing up as us. We're just trying to deliver what they want. And in the process, we're losing who we are. Or the coin is the other way, and we're not focused enough on our audience. So we're trying to deliver things based on exactly who we are, but we're not paying attention to the market needs. What is the universal that we need to put out there? What are the biggest demands of our aligned right audience or aligned right client? So the goal is to get that coin on its side, but I just want to remind everyone, it can be really precarious to have a coin on its side. But when it comes into perfect balance, it's a beautiful feeling. And that's the feeling you had when you were looking at these incredible reels.
Well, yeah, thank you. Very well stated. I just, as you say that, and as we're looking at this and we're thinking about the audience right now, for that guy or gal, that entrepreneur that's saying, you know what, I'm trying to take my business to this next level. I want to break this 7-figure mark. I want to take my $1 million business and turn it into a $5 million business, or whatever the case. But they feel like there's something holding them back, right? And they feel like they're not enough of who they think they need to be to accomplish what they want. And so this question, you've hit on it a lot. but I want it to be stated because I want the individual that is looking and saying, I'm looking to grow my business, and they've come to the point where they realize it's not the programs they bought that's keeping them from achieving. It's the programming that they have about themselves.
Absolutely.
As an expert, as an authority in this area, Tony, what is the danger of being inauthentic when you're trying to grow your business?
Catastrophic danger, in the sense that total annihilation of everything that you care about. That's what's at stake, right? Like, and I don't say that to be sort of brash or to scare anyone, but the truth is, especially when we're operating at the high level, especially when we're, in the 6, 7, even 8 figure mark, or we're looking to add another zero, it's really important to understand that, like, each level comes with its own set of challenges, and the challenges are always, you hit the nail on the head, the challenges are always about your programming. They're always about the boundaries that you have set in your head. And those boundaries, what's interesting is that as we up level, we almost have this idea that, like, the more we up level, the less boundaries we're going to have. It's often the opposite. The more we up level, the more boundaries we're going to start putting in place. And the challenge is to figure out what is the most potent boundary to start with, the most potent obstacle to focus on first. And the most potent is often the one that at a gut level, we know is the one holding us back the most. And it's generally what I call like a domino obstacle, because it's really like when we hit that obstacle out of the way, it's going to knock all the other ones out in the process. So it's really simple to say, well, it's my, it's my marketing budget, it's my ad spend, it's my, it's my lack of, I don't have enough people on my team, or my team isn't really, working cohesively. It's easy to make this list. And I suggest that right now, if you're watching this, just make that list. What are all the obstacles? What are all the challenges? And then sit back from it, take a break, come back to it, and ask yourself, what is the one challenge that's actually causing all of this? What is the one challenge that's actually emphasizing all of this? And that is where we start. We've got to start with and it's always inner work. It's always something in your head. It's always a conditioning that you're telling yourself, and it's a boundary that you're setting, a perceived boundary that's actually getting in the way of all these other things.
You were kind of yeah, it's a great segue, because my thing of it is, all right, we've talked about the pros of being authentic, and we just covered the cons of being inauthentic with what you're doing. So what I would like to do, if you will, Tony, give us 3 things and ways that we can leverage our authenticity to stimulate business growth in
Absolutely.
our company.
Yeah, huge. Okay. So number one, above all else, I call it coming out. We all need to do it. Right now, there is a network, whether that be your audience, whether that be your team, if you're sitting nicely into that CEO position, wherever you are in your business, there are a group of people who need to know you better than they do. We are in people business. All businesses are people relationship businesses. And truth be told, all businesses scale due to people and relationships more than anything else. I've worked with some of the largest companies in the world, from Microsoft to Doctors Without Borders, and it's the same with all of these companies. And this is part of what I do when I go in there. We so often look for the metrics, or the one little quick fix tip that we can take under our belt and make a difference. The truth is, it always comes back to relationship building. So right away, you've got to ask yourself, tip number one, ask yourself, who can I be more authentic to? Who are the group of people or the audience directly in front of me that are counting on me right now? And how can I bring some more clarity and community, and therefore more confidence into that group? It's really vital that we do this first, because truth is we're all hiding sometime. Like, we're all hiding in some way, shape, or form. We're hiding from the group in front of us in some way, shape, or form. And I can't tell you what that way is, but you know it. You know it in the gut, in your gut, as I'm saying it. You're like, yes, there are, if you're a CEO and there's some, managers or people that are directly under you, that, maybe some operators that you need to speak to, and you need to let them know, or let them in more on your core values, more on why this company was created. What about your history? How did you start this company? Were you in their shoes at the beginning? If you're front facing, if you're speaking to a demographic or an audience, to a customer base, how can they know you better? And take this a step further, because you can empower your team to do the same. How can your team come out to their audience and say, look, there is more to our story? The brands that are doing the best right now are pulling the curtain back and letting us see behind the scenes. That is what people want in 2023 more than anything else. So that's number one. That's the first one. Even McDonald's, as I was saying this, even McDonald's, right? Like, recently ran a campaign that were like, this is what our ingredients are. This is what's really in our burgers. Like, we wanted to answer your questions, even the bad ones. Like, the biggest brands in our world today know this, and they're employing this. So we've got to do it in our business. So that's number one. It's a big one, but that's number one. Number two, we've got to get really laser focused on your income generating activities, also known if you've ever read Clockwork, one of my favorite books, especially if you're already, a millionaire, multimillionaire, and you're looking to up level, and you're looking to fully step away from your business and let it run itself, which, by the way, is all about scalability. You've got to identify what is the one activity that our business does better than anyone else, and are we protecting and nurturing it at all costs? Is it number one? A lot of us believe, especially like CEOs, we get ego. I'm the first to tell you, I have ego too. We all have it. And we get into this mentality of like, my business is me, or my business won't survive without me, or even my major team members. And I want you to remember, your business is not you. Your business is not your team members. Your business is not even, the company mission. Those are all what support your business. But what your business actually is the one thing that generates the most income that you do better than anyone else. We saw this with Netflix when they pivoted from DVD deliveries to like streaming. They became the king of streaming. That was their, complete zone of genius, their complete income generating activity. But it's not just that they're streaming, it's that they're doing it in a way that intuitively knows the audience. Like, they're telling you what you would like to watch next. And that's what they're experts on. They're experts on knowing the viewership, the viewing habits of their audience. Which, funny enough, they don't share the viewing habits of their audience. Interesting to know. So that's the second one. Yeah. Identify your IGA, your income generating activity. Clockwork calls it your QBR, your queen bee role, the role, the position, the activity that generates the most income. And then I would say the third tip that I would give is, honestly, simplification. Clarity. Does your audience know exactly what you do? And if they don't, you've got to teach them. It's up to you to teach them. Now, I know your audience there's a cacophony of different entrepreneurs and business owners, so I can only speak in generalities, but I will say that across all sectors, one thing is true, is that clarity begets confidence. Confidence begets cash flow. So cash flow comes from clarity always. And I think as humans, as high achievers, we overcomplicate everything. As overthinkers, we're overcomplicating. And there's a really great skill, which is being able to plan long-term, but not getting so bogged down in all the moving parts that you're not present to the simplicity of the moment to moment in your business. So clarity.
Awesome. Well, guys, listen, You just got your $1 million tip that they piece to scale your business to your next level. These 3 tips are extremely powerful, but hey, this is what we do. That's why we invite experts and authorities on the show. So I'm going to add a 4th one, and that 4th
Yes.
one is to make sure you attend Tony's next workshop. And I know he's got something really big coming up. So Tony, why don't you tell us about the event that you have coming up?
Absolutely. I would love to. So, this is a 3-day virtual event and conference. This is unlike anything you've ever attended before. We are going to spend 3 full days together building and rebuilding and scaling your business from a place of authenticity. This is going to be for you if you do consider yourself a high achiever, a weirdopreneur, someone who has been a misfit or an outcast, which I know many of your audience do feel that way. They're very much pioneers and leaders, but they came from feeling like they didn't fit in. So we're going to help you get really laser focused and clear on who you serve, how you do it, and how to do it in a way that increases your cash flow. This is February 20th to 22nd. And yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun, but also a really powerful 3 days.
So, guys, you want to make sure that you give her, we're going to make sure that we get a link for that for you, and make sure that you put in Leverage Leader on this. Make sure you follow that link and Leverage Leader as a code to make sure that you get, and that Tony knows we're sending people his way in doing that. Because, hey, guys, there's a lot of things that we talk about on the show, and leveraging cash and leveraging tools and leveraging this here is the intangibles. What the dynamic of clarity is so super important. And the dynamic, even more so, of just authenticity is such a treasure to really grasp. And the more you understand this, I would encourage you guys, make sure when you listen to this podcast, you go back and listen to it again. Go back and listen to it again, because Tony dropped some major nuggets here, and things that if you're really stuck right now, you can get a lot out of what he just shared today. He just gave you a training for free to show you how powerful the dynamic of leveraging authenticity is. But make sure you go and register for his event. That's the thing you don't have to think about, is registering for that event. So make sure that you go attend that event. And Tony, it's such a pleasure to have you here with us. Now, there are going to be people that's going to say, man, listen, how do I connect with this guy, man? How do I get more of his conversations or whatever? So tell them how they can connect with you, my friend.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can always visit my company's page, The Present You Inc. inc.com. You can follow me on IG at Tony Babcock Coach. And you can always drop me an email. I am someone that still answers individual personal emails. If you ever want to ask any questions, Tony at thepresentyouinc.com. And I just want to say, thank you so much for having me. It's so great to see you again. And I just want to say, to your point, to everyone watching or listening here, if you've been feeling frustrated in getting to that next level of your business, I'm here to tell you, AM's here to tell you, you're not doing anything wrong. You're doing everything right. But I want to challenge everyone to stop trying to get everything right and instead get everything true. That's really, really key. It's about quality over quantity. It's not about what you're doing or not doing. It's about how you're doing it. And I think that's the intangible that AM talked about. And what's so beautiful about intangibles is when they start to become tangible, they start to turn into tangible results.
Yeah, they turn into what you have so eloquently called passion infused prosperity. I absolutely love that. So, make sure that you guys take a hold of that. This has been our Leverage Leader. We are now at the end of our show. Tony, it's been a pleasure having you here with us on Leverage Leader. Guys, if you are finding yourself challenged and struggling and wondering how do I get to this next level? How do I, break through this? Coach, I could stand some more insights from you. Well, I told you about Tony's event, but let me also invite you to my what we call free AMAs, Ask Me Anything Coaching Tuesdays, where I give you the chance to where we address business owners' struggles, the biggest challenge that they're having in their business right now, and give you an opportunity to verbalize that challenge and let us provide some help and some assistance. Just simply go to askcoacham.com, register. The event is free. The advice and the insights are priceless. So, no, we don't charge for it, but you couldn't pay for it even when we give it to you because it's that priceless. So make sure
Ah,
you go to askcoacham.com and register for the free AMA Tuesdays and let us help you address the biggest struggle that you have. And if you're needing that serious, you're ready to take action, step into something and move into it. Also, make sure that you go and check out Tony's event, because I'm going to tell you, I'm not telling you this to, fluff up anything. I attended the event. I attended his event. It was absolutely amazing, life-changing, and it will truly move you from loss level to boss level if you just get into it and apply it and come curious, because you're going to learn a lot. All right, guys, that's all for today. I'm Coach A.M. Williams, reminding you something in your life can be leveraged to create something you want. Until the next time, you all stay blessed. See you on the next show. God bless.